We're going to look at lesson 9 now. So this is your kind of explore and investigate together. So we're going to go through this. I'm going to show you how to do these so that you guys can understand it. So this first level, they've got a function defined on line 3, and then they're calling that function on lines 1 and 2. So again, remember, with a function, you have to do two things. You first have to define it. You then have to call it. And make sure when you're defining it, you give the name something descriptive that uses camel case. So the question here is, how many times will the chorus print out? Because this is a bunch of console logs inside of my function. Now I can see that they've called the function twice, which means this should print out twice. So I'm going to say twice. All right, I can see that it ran twice, so I got that correct. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to the next level. All right, on level 2, they want us to run the program to see how it works, pay attention to what happens when the program sings the chorus, add code to make the program sing the chorus. There are comments to tell you where to add this. So if I run it the first time, let me speed it up. We can kind of see it's printing out each line as this code runs. So here we're doing the verse, and then we're singing the chorus twice. We've got verse 2. So they want us to add code here. So I'm going to switch to block mode. So again, this is my block to call a function. So I just need to, it wants me to do it twice, so I'm going to add 2 of them, and I'm going to change it to sing chorus. So there, I've added that one. Scrolling down, I can see they want it just do it once here. So this time I'm just going to add 1 block. So now when I run it, right, I can see down at the bottom it ran it. This is where I added the 2, so it's saying it twice. And here's the last one that I added, so it did it 1 time. All right, so again, this is just getting into those 2 things that we have to do with a function, which is define and call, and they're having us practice calling the function a few times. All right, on level 3, we're going to look at this app, and it says, read the program, predict how it will run, then answer the question below. On what lines is the update screen function being defined? All right, so they're checking to see if we know the difference between a function definition and a function call. So you should know, line 6, you're seeing update screen, but that's a call. Line 12, they're calling it. Line 19, they're calling it, and then on 23, they are defining it. All right, this is our definition. It has the instructions that are going to run when this function is called. So I'm going to say line 23, run that, finish, and move on to level 4. All right, so again, we are looking at the same count app. This time they're asking on what lines is the function called. So we kind of went through this, so I can see on line 6 it's called. On line 12 it's being called. On line 19 it's being called. And then that would be the last one, right? Because 23 is a definition, so it's not being called there. So you should have 6, 12, and 19 as your answer. Going to level 5. All right, this, again, we're looking at this count, and it's asking how does the update screen function make the program easier to write and understand. They then want us to change the program to make the game end when the score is 15. They want it to end if the score is less than -10, and they want us to update the text that's shown. So they want us to put a space and clicks next to our click count. So right in here it should say clicks, right? So 0 clicks or 1 click. But first they're kind of asking, how does the update screen make it easier to write and understand? And the idea here is this code inside of the definition of our function. If we didn't have this function, everywhere that we're calling update screen, we would have to have these 5 or 6 lines of code. Right? So it makes it easier in that we can put these instructions into one spot and then just call that code when we need it. I went over this in the lecture video in detail, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it right now, but make sure you watch that lecture video and you understand this was the update screen pattern. Right, so they want us to change this to be greater than 15, right? So I can see in my instructions, right now I'm checking to see if it's greater than or equal to 10, less than or equal to 15, sorry, negative 5. So they want us to be 15 over here and negative 10. All right, so if I run this code now, let me speed it up because I haven't quite finished yet. But I can see when it gets to 15, it's changing. And then it should be when I hit negative 10, I should see that, right? What they want us to also do is add this space and clicks. So this gets into that idea of string concatenation. Remember, we can concatenate strings with a variable and a string, which is what we're doing here, because we have the count variable. But I want to also add this string. Right? Again, strings go in quotes. So what this is basically saying is display in this final score label whatever values in my count variable plus the string space clicks. So if I run this now, let's see, I'm going to reset it, run it, right? And I've got a problem in there. So, and if we're looking at this, I kind of want to see if you guys can see the mistake that I put in there. But basically, this set text is for the count display label. This is for the final score label. So this label is only displayed when I win, right? So what I want to do as well is add this, right? Because this is this label right here. So if I run it now, I can see 0 clicks, 1 click, 2 clicks, right? As I go negative, same thing. So sometimes you got to check to see, do you need to do it in 2 spots? Do you need to do it in 1 spot? In this case, they were really only asking you to do it on line 24. I put it on 27 just so you kind of see that it essentially was a bug in my system, right? Even though my code was running correctly and I didn't have any errors or warnings, there was still a logic error in there. It wasn't working the way I expected. So once you get that done, you will finish that up. You will go to level 6. Right, so on level 6, they want us to look inside the lime and lemon. We're looking for some repeated code so that we can create a function called update screen and then just call it. So if I'm looking at, this is my play button, so they're not telling me to look there. I've got the lemon button where I'm updating the score, playing a sound, checking the score to make the size smaller if I need to. Then I'm setting some properties and I'm updating the screen. And then in here, I can see I'm updating lives. And then here's these lines, 66 to 72. They're the same lines as 49 to 55, right? So anytime we see that, that's kind of a clue to us that we should kind of pull that code out and put it into a function. So what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to put this function here, and I'm going to call it update screen. So that's what they want us to call it. And then I'm going to take these lines and I'm going to put them inside of my function. All right, so now that I've done that, I need to actually call this function now so that those lines will get called at the appropriate spot. All right, and then same thing here. I've already moved those lines into a function so I can get rid of them and just call my function here. All right, so I've essentially implemented that update screen pattern. All right, so if you make those changes, right, again, what you should see is the play button, you don't need to change anything. Inside this lemon on event and the lime on event, you want to remove those repeated lines of code, and then you're just going to call the update screen function, which is where you're going to put those instructions, right? So now when this runs and it gets to update screen, it's going to pause on line 57, jump down to 66, run the code on 68 to 74. It will then come back up and start running again from 5859, right? So this is that event-driven code that we're talking about. So level 7 is just going to go over that update screen pattern again. So again, I already went through this in the lecture video, so make sure you watch that video and you understand this pattern. It's going to be very helpful for you in this class. And then lesson 8 is just a check for understanding. All right, so that'll do it for lesson 9. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email or come by room 624.